The old world is dying, and the new world struggles to be born. Now is the time of monsters. That's how Texe Marrs chose to open his book, Psychopaths, Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. This book was published in 2019. It was the final book that he wrote before his passing. He was, of course, a well-known radio show host and a Christian minister, author of several books over the years, many of which were considered to be sort of on the fringe conspiracy side. But nonetheless, his final book, Psychopaths, was a real eye-opener. And it was prescient because this book accurately predicted what descended upon the United States and the world in 2020. Not that he so much predicted the health crisis aspect of 2020, but he predicted that America would soon enter what he called crazy times, a time of chaos and turmoil socially, politically, and basically this is brought about by the superabundance of psychopaths in positions of power. Now, this book by Texe Marrs explains that before you can have crazy times, which come along historically once every few generations. High-profile examples would be Nazi Germany in the 1930s and 40s, Soviet Russia or under Stalin, China under Mao. These are just three examples. And according to Marrs, the United States was about to enter the crazy times scenario by virtue of the fact that America's government, the political systems from top to bottom, had been infiltrated by psychopaths. Now, he uses the term psychopath in the clinical sense. And basically, a psychopath, to loosely define it, is an individual possessing no conscience. Not that a psychopath cannot distinguish between right and wrong. He knows right and wrong, but he chooses wrong if it helps him to exert his will and achieve his ends. In other words, a psychopath has no scruples. He does not feel or experience emotions the way a normal human being would. And basically, a psychopath will do whatever it takes to get what he wants. And these are the types of people that, according to Marrs, have infiltrated the government from top to bottom. And he predicted accurately that the crazy times would come to America very soon. And we saw that unfold in 2020. I think one of the interesting things about his prediction was he pointed out one of the attributes of a psychopathic government. That is, when psychopaths completely control a government, there usually comes a point, they don't at first reveal themselves. They keep the mask on, so to speak. But there comes a point, inevitably, when they reveal themselves. And I'm quoting from the book, political crises are complicated by the activation of the primitive impulses of key leaders. That's a key word, activation. Psychopaths are activated. There's usually a catalyst, an event, a political event. In this case, for instance, COVID in 2020 served as the activation for the psychopaths in positions of power worldwide. And we saw, of course, the results of that, the crazy times that were unleashed upon the entire world in 2020 because psychopaths were in charge. And unfortunately, Marrs concludes from his study of history that there is no way to rid the world or governments of these psychopaths without something akin to a revolution. In other words, they have to be overthrown. Either that or through the natural course of time, they die out. So for instance, in Nazi Germany, the crazy times ended with the death of Hitler and the Nazi regime, only lasting a few years. In the case of Stalinist Russia, it persisted for 70 years, and it took basically the complete aging out of the communist rulers before their crazy times period ended. So there's no guessing when a crazy times scenario ends for any given country when psychopaths have taken control. This is really a fascinating book. I totally recommend it if you want to get some insights into what is happening in this country and in the world today. It's an easy read. You can probably get through it at a single sitting. It's a large format book, very heavily illustrated. I can't recommend it highly enough. Again, it's called Psychopaths, Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow by Texe Marrs. This has been South Bay. Thanks for listening.